Okay, we're going to look at plugging in our LED into our breadboard and using our jumper cables here and a resistor. So make sure you have these components. They'll be laid out for you. Make sure you have two jumper cables. They are male to female, and you can see the different ends there. Make sure you have these kind, because these are going to be required for plugging into the SenseHat, which is over here. Okay, so once you have all your components, you want to take your LED, you want to locate the long end of the LED, the anode, and the short end, which is the cathode. So what you want to do is plug in your LED. I find it's easy just to plug it into the top of the breadboard. You can see the long end is being plugged in at the bottom. So I'm just plugging in the LED like that. Long end is at the bottom there. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my resistor, and I am just going to bend the resistor, and I'm going to plug it into the cathode end. So I know it's a bit hard to see with my fingers here, but I'm just going to twist it around and plug the resistor in so it's pushed in. There we go, right there, and that's plugged into the short end of the LED, the cathode, and that's going to restrict the amount of current going into our LED so it doesn't damage it. The next thing you're going to want to do is take your male end of your jumper, plug it in. So these are in the line. You can see we have our jumper, our resistor, and the short end of our LED running across the top. I'm going to take another male end of the jumper cable, and I'm going to plug it so it's directly across. You can see it's directly across there from the anode, or the positive end of the LED. So make sure it's lined up exactly like that. If anything is incorrect there, you're not going to be getting this LED to light up. So just make sure you've got it like that. Okay, once we've got that and we've got everything plugged in, take it over to your SenseHat right here, and we're going to take the end that is plugged into the cathode with the resistor and the short end of the LED, and we're going to plug it into the ground. Now the ground is the very left side and the bottom of your GPIOs, which are all these pins right here. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So just plug in, make sure this end is plugged into the ground right here, and the ground is on the left. Make sure the other end, which is this brown wire with the long end of the LED, is plugged into this pin right here, which is pin 21. Okay, and let's look up here what's going on. So you can see this is our GPIO input and output, it's a GPIO pin diagram. It's labeled BCM here, but it just basically means GPIO. You can see at the very bottom, these are the two pins we're using. The ground pin is on the left, and the GPIO 21 is on the right here. So there and there should correspond exactly to your SenseHat right here. Make sure your USB ports are on the bottom. You might plug it in backwards, so make sure that the USB ports are on the bottom, and we've got that all correct. Okay, so once you're set up, we are going to move on to the actual coding part of our program.